with our Algebra 2 exam review. After all of the triangle review, we went over to circular trigonometry. The first thing we learned to do was to draw circular angles, angles that couldn't be contained in a triangle, positive or negative angles. So, for example, on the screen, draw 159 degrees. Well, if the right side of the x-axis is 0 degrees, then the top of the y-axis is 90 degrees, and the left side of the x-axis is 180. So 159 is drawn by drawing an arc into the second quadrant and labeling it 159 degrees. What is the reference angle for 159 degrees? Well, remember, a reference angle is always the angle made by the terminal ray and the nearest side of the x-axis. So this is the reference angle to 159. So that would be 180 minus 159 is 21. So this is a 21 degree reference angle. Name two angles that are coterminal to 159 degrees. All you have to do is 159 plus or minus 360 to get two angles that are coterminal to 159. Okay, then we introduced radians and how to draw them. So draw negative 23 pi over 9 radians. Well, the way that I taught you is change that to a mixed numeral. 9 goes into 23 twice, so that's negative 2 and 5/9 pi. Well, if you think of that as negative 2 pi plus negative 5/9 pi, then negative 2 pi means to go around clockwise once, and then negative 5/9 pi, that's a little bit more than a half. 5/9 is a little bit more than half, so that says I would rotate past there by a little bit and stop, and so negative 23 pi over 9 is about right there in the third quadrant. Naming the reference angle for negative 23 pi over 9 means that we're looking for the measure of this angle right here. How are we going to find the measure of that angle? Well, it goes back to knowing that the distance from here to here was negative 5 pi over 9. So then how much further do I need to go to make it to negative pi? Well, this would need to be a reference angle of 4 pi over 9. So the reference angle is 4 pi over 9. Name two coterminal angles to negative 23 pi over 9. Well, negative 23 pi over 9 plus and minus 2 pi will give you a couple of coterminal angles. After we learned how to draw angles and name reference angles and coterminal angles, we certainly also learned how to convert degrees to radians and radians to degrees. So we did this. Pi is to 180 as what is to 580. So then you take cross products and you have 180x equals 580 pi. So then x equals 580 pi over 180. I can simplify that to 58 pi over 18. And then let's see, that's 58 divided by 2 is 29 pi, and 18 divided by 2 is 9. So 29 pi over 9 is equivalent to 580 degrees. Convert 13 pi over 5 radians to degrees. Pi is to 180 as 13 pi over 5 is to x. If you take your cross products, you get pi x equals 180 times 13 pi over 5. And then if you divide both sides by pi, you have x equals 180 times 13 divided by 5 after those pi's cancel out. And then you just finish the multiplying and dividing to find your answer. Also, a part of circular trigonometry was we learned about the unit circle, how to find the exact values of trig ratios at angles on the unit circle. So let's see, find the sine of 570 degrees. Well, the first thing we need to do is find out where 570 degrees is. So let's see, if I go around, that's 360. And if I go around to here, that's 540 degrees by, 450 degrees. And then, let's see, 450 plus 90 is 540 degrees. So 570 is right here in the third quadrant with a 30-degree reference angle. Okay, well, that means that 570 is coterminal to 210. And so if I go to the unit circle at 210 degrees, I see that the sine is negative 1/2. So then I know that this is negative 1/2 as well. The cosine of negative 120, well, that would be right here with a 60-degree reference angle. So doesn't that mean that negative 120 is in the same place as 240? So if I go to the unit circle at 240 degrees, I see that the cosine is negative 1/2. Okay, tangent of 3 pi over 2. Well, remember, tangent on the unit circle is y-coordinate divided by the x-coordinate. 3 pi over 2 is right here, and the ordered pair at that point is 0, negative 1. So y divided by x is undefined. The tangent of 3 pi over 2 is undefined. There's a vertical asymptote there. The cosecant of 5 pi over 6. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go find the sine of 5 pi over 6. Well, if I go to the unit circle, the sine of 5 pi over 6 is also a half. So if the sine of 5 pi over 6 is a half, then the cosecant of 5 pi over 6 is the reciprocal of that, so 2. Okay, the secant of 420 degrees, well, that's 360. And I think it takes about another 60 degrees to get to 420. So that's a 60-degree reference angle. So if I go to 60 degrees, I see that the cosine is a half at 60 degrees. So then doesn't that mean that the secant of 420 is 2 over 1, or just 2? Cotangent of 495 degrees. Well, let's see. That's 360. That's 450. And if you go all the way around to here, adding 90, you get to 540. So 495 is about 45 more degrees. It has a 45-degree reference angle. So in other words, 495 degrees is coterminal to 135 degrees. Cotangent is x divided by y. So let's go to 135 degrees. What would you get if you took that x-coordinate divided by that y-coordinate? You would get negative 1. So that's a good review of everything that we learned in circular trigonometry, done very quickly. And so on the next video, as you see, we will be doing graphing trig functions as our final review.